One of the oldest, most tired and unsophisticated tropes of the American right wing is calling anything nuanced, anything intellectual, even simply something science-based, gay, or sometimes they'll use the code word effeminate if they're a little slicker, like Fox News propagandist Tucker Carlson. And indeed, last night, Tucker Carlson did a commentary about this entire pandemic. And it was sort of a rant about how all these doctors and experts telling us what to do aren't the people that we should be following, and that there's something sort of not masculine, in fact, about following people like Dr. Fauci. And Tucker devolves into the basest of base arguments, which is that listening to public health experts like Dr. Fauci makes one delicate, timid, and effeminate, which are just sophisticated words for the right wing to say, oh, that's gay, man. That's really gay. And of course, Tucker hides this by saying this is the view of some Chinese advisor to the government. Why Tucker cares what a Chinese advisor would say when typically Tucker is denouncing the Chinese Communist Party, I don't know. But here it's convenient. And Tucker says, look, the advisor says that it's a masculinity crisis. It's effeminate to do this stuff. And it's sort of like when we listen to Dr. Fauci. Take a listen to this.
Well, this tells you everything. In March of last year, the leadership of the United States and of China both declared national emergencies. In the U.S., Tony Fauci warned Congress that reopening American businesses could cause, quote, coronavirus outbreaks the government may not be able to control. Going outside, Tony Fauci said, was just too risky. Meanwhile, in China, where the coronavirus originated, a top advisor to the Chinese government declared that the country was experiencing a very different kind of threat, a more profound threat. The problem, he said, was a national masculinity crisis. Chinese boys, quote, have been spoiled by housewives and female teachers, and they were becoming, as a result, quote, delicate, timid, and effeminate. In essence, they were becoming people who might listen to someone like Tony Fauci. Left unchecked, said the Chinese government advisor, the feminization of Chinese boys would, quote, inevitably endanger the survival and development of the Chinese nation.
Did you see how Tucker did that? He doesn't use the word gay, and he doesn't say it's his idea, but then he says it's sort of like listening to Dr. Fauci, the Chinese doctor saying we've become delicate, timid, and effeminate. That's sort of like when we listen to Dr. Fauci, when Dr. Fauci as a doctor explains how viruses work and suggests what people should do. If you listen to that, it's sort of gay. That's the code language that is being used here. This is just red meat for the right. It's another version of the real men don't go to the doctor type of sort of troglodytic thinking. Now, maybe natural selection prefers effeminate, timid, and delicate. I don't know. I guess we'll see who survives this thing. But they're not even trying to hide their contempt and resentment for anybody who listens to actual experts rather than Fox News so-called experts. Now, you really have to think about what the end game is here, because it strikes me as illogical. And what I mean by that is Fox News's audience is disproportionately older folks who we know are more at risk of dying from coronavirus. If Fox News's audience followed the advice of Fox News hosts for the last year, many of them would be dying when they didn't have to die. Fox News would be essentially killing off its own audience. And it makes no sense in that context. So the end game can't possibly be that. But it's all part of the political movement that pushed the anti-mask protests for freedom, promoted Donald Trump's radiologist Dr. Scott Atlas's views on a communicable disease completely outside of his area of expertise, generally promoted ignoring science on just about every aspect of the pandemic. And it's amazing how much things change and yet how much things stay the same. So much has changed in society and culture since when I was in school in the 90s, and it was common to say, oh, that's gay. And yet Tucker Carlson, a 51-year-old man in 2021, is going right back to that same trope. Now, one last thought, just as an aside, is Tucker Carlson now the image of right-wing masculinity? And I ask that in a serious way. I don't care how Tucker looks. I care about what Tucker says. But is it now Is this the image that Republicans now consider the pinnacle of masculinity? A bow tie wearing, sort of high pitched voice, country club guy? Maybe it is. I don't know. And I don't care what Tucker looks like or what he sounds like. I care about what he says. But it's also kind of weird to me that he's talking about it's effeminate to listen to doctors when I don't recognize Tucker as the image of right-wing masculinity that's sort of bandied about at the motorcycle rallies and the shooting ranges. I don't know. Now, just one more thing. Tucker in the opening also said going outside is too risky, according to Dr. Fauci. I looked and looked and couldn't find any instances throughout this pandemic of Dr. Fauci saying, stay in your homes. I just couldn't find it. So it seems that also, even on the premise, even on the facts, Tucker Carlson is not surprisingly completely wrong again. One of our sponsors is Monk Pack. It's tough to get excited about most granola bars. They have a lot of carbs. They don't taste that great. They don't really satisfy your cravings. But Monk Pack has something totally different. Monk Pack Keto granola bars are sweet and delicious with a soft and chewy texture, only 140 calories, 1 gram of sugar, and only 2 to 3 net carbs, which make them work perfectly for the keto or low carb lifestyles. They come in excellent flavors like coconut cocoa chip, honey nut, blueberry almond vanilla. That's my new favorite. I love these because you can just grab them anytime. Maybe it's a quick breakfast, an afternoon snack when you're busy. Forget the dry, bland granola bars you've had in the past. Try out Monk Pack Keto granola bars. If you don't love them like I do, they'll give you all of your money back. You'll get 20% off when you go to monkpack.com and use the coupon code Pakman. The link is underneath this video.